All right, really interesting development. The DOJ is considering banning gun ownership for transgender individuals. This, as I was reading through this, has brought some interesting bedfellows together. Potentially, you have very libertarian gun right organizations that are not in favor of this move, considering it's a slippery slope. And then you have gay rights organizations that are saying basically it's identifying or objectifying an entire group to be banned for gun ownership. So we'll see. This comes after a press conference, White House press conference question last week. But I'm gonna play one of these videos with some general information. Let's kind of react to it here.
This update as the Justice Department is considering ways to prevent transgender people from buying guns, according to multiple reports. The news comes 1 week after the deadly school shooting in Minneapolis. The suspect in that shooting was transgender. Justice Department officials are reportedly considering a range of options, but banning an entire group of Americans from purchasing a gun could be a difficult to implement.
What they might end up doing, what I was reading in different sources, was that you may have limitations or additional questions being asked at point of gun purchase. To this report's point, constitutionally, it would be difficult to ban an entire subsect of the population.
Or even illegal. To help us understand what's possible, and we're going to be now joined by constitutional law expert Robert McWhirter. And Robert, let's start right.
That this is gun ownership is protected under the Second Amendment. So, regardless of what group it is, I'm curious to see what a constitutional lawyer was going to say about this.
Now, what you thought about this news?
Well, it's a little shocking. And actually, any gun owner should be very afraid, and the National Rifle Association should be up in arms about this proposal. Look, if you're going to say that a diagnosis of gender dysmorphia, which is part of the foundation of transgender, is a basis to take away guns, well, why not somebody who's clinically depressed? Do they all get their guns taken away? What about somebody who just has a neuroses about, I don't know, whatever? And all of a sudden, you're making a justification to take away their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And this is the thinnest of bases which to do it. Transgender people are usually 4 times more likely to be victims of crimes rather than perpetrators of crimes.
Now, one of the things that proponents of this are stating is the high number of suicides amongst post-transgender, particularly males. Biological males, and there's a clear correlation between these mass shootings and suicide. So that's one of the justifications for it. But again, it's a real slippery slope constitutionally. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. There's the DOJ just released a statement basically saying that they're looking into this, but there's nothing solidified as of yet. Next. This is pretty interesting with all of the Doge cuts to foreign aid. I was interested to see the Trump administration just a few months later approving $32.5 million to Nigeria to help address hunger. This as the African nation is, of course, grappling with severe food shortages, a lot of internally displaced people. Nigeria does fit, the northern tip of it does fit along the Sahel region, which has seen a huge amount of fighting due to an insurgency. The U.S. mission says the donation would provide nutrition up to 764,000 people in northeast and northwest of America's or Africa's most populous country. So that is your American tax dollars at work. That is pretty good. And as I stated, the West African country is dealing with an insurgency, which is amounted to the death of over 35,000 civilians and displacement of over 2 million others, according to the UN. So you can have your opinions on how much the U.S. should spend in foreign aid, but I do think this is a good use of funds. No doubt, under the new administration, I'm sure the way these funds are allocated are probably going to be much more scrutinized than they have been in the past and less politicized. I'm hoping that those funds go straight to for food subsidies for these individuals. In a statement, they said this includes complementary nutrition top-ups for 41,000 over 41,000 pregnant breastfeeding women and girls, and 43,000 children through electronic food vouchers. So, last thing I want to talk about today, guys. Putin rejecting just another score of Western-backed plans for peace. One of the things that Ukraine absolutely needs is security guarantees. So, with that in mind, Western European nations, with the help of the White House, have proposed a plan that, stating that over 26 nations, mostly in Western Europe, had formally committed to deploying troops by land and sea to help provide the security needed to bring peace to a halt. There's been various portions of this plan discussed, most of them keeping the troops out of direct harm's way and kind of a secondary line behind Ukrainian troops, but giving a buffer zone for the rest of Ukraine. Could, of course, shooting this down in its embryonic planning stages, saying, look, he's saying that all those Western troops would be legitimate targets, of course, raises the risk of escalating this conflict further into a world war. So, much like Putin has done in the past with rhetoric about nuclear war, or this could be a bluff statement, but he's trying to tone down any attempt by the West to deploy troops to the region. So, much more to cover. We'll talk about more in a different video. But thank you for joining. See you next time.